Hey, Dr. Jensen. I'm Bryce Nielsen. I've been emailing you about maybe TAing for Bio 130 or Bio 100. I made another video, but it was too long. Yeah, my internet's not super great, so it's going to take forever to upload. So I'm just going to try to race through these questions. Yeah, sorry if it's a bit quick, but yeah. So I took Bio 130 from Dr. Levitt, and I got an A. It's a really fun class, and so if I was able, I would love to be the TA for the in-class part of Bio 130. My major is biology. Um, yeah, I've thought about switching maybe to microbiome or something in PWS, but I think for now I'm just going to stick with biology. My biggest strength in terms of being a good TA is that I'm invested in success of other people, especially if I'm helping them out. So I think I would be able to just just work with TAs. Like I've been blessed with great TAs in the past that even though I haven't been able to make their office hours, they've been able to work with their schedule so it can fit with mine, and I want to return the favor to any student that I help out, just like being flexible and yeah, being able to be reached outside of my office hours. A weakness of mine is that sometimes it's somewhat hard for me to stay on task. Um, yeah, like if I don't have a set deadline, I will take a lot longer on something than I would need to. But if I do have a set deadline and it's close, then I'm able to stay on task a lot better. Something outgoing I've done recently, I backpacked up Temp, Timpanogos. I've hiked Temp before, but just with a day pack, and it's a lot easier than backpacking with a 40-pound backpack. But it was fun. Just me and a group of friends did it. Um, yeah, that's probably the most outgoing thing I've done within the past few weeks. Something I disagree with my parents on is probably just the overall philosophy about video games. I think they're a tool that can be used, also misused, but when used, they can help people to just unwind and uh, de-stress. Um, and yeah, that's what I use them for. Just kind of keep my mind off stressful things for a little bit. Like I don't have a console or anything. I just have some games on my phone. But my parents don't like video games. They just think they're a waste of time. And yeah, I honestly couldn't really think of anything big we disagree on. Just something small and trivial like video games. How I would make a 3% sodium chloride solution. So I'd first have to see what materials I have. For example, if I already had 10% sodium chloride solution, I would just take 30 milliliters of that and add it to 70 milliliters of water. Um, but if I had just straight salt, I would take 3 grams of salt and I would stir it into 100 milliliters of water. But sorry, step back. So I would first put the salt in a 100 milliliter graduated cylinder, and then I'd fill the water up so it would reach 100 milliliters. So that overall, um, the solution would be 100 milliliters total. Because if I added salt to 100 milliliters of water, then I would have a solution that's greater than 100 milliliters. Um, I hope I was able to explain myself well on that. But pretty much it's just, yeah, the percent is like, say you have 100 milliliters, 3% means you have 3 grams in 100 milliliter solution of salt. So to explain where the mass of a tree comes from, I'd write out the equation for photosynthesis, which is 6 water, 6H2O, plus 6 CO2 plus energy goes to 6O2 plus C6H12O6, which is just glucose. And then I would explain that the majority of a mass of a tree is just glucose or modified forms of glucose, but it all comes from photosynthesis. And I would show them that the only spot where there's carbon on either side is in either the carbon dioxide or the glucose, and the carbon dioxide is found in the air. So I would explain to them that the majority of a tree's or a plant's mass comes from the air. To explain to a student how antibiotic resistance develops, I would try to explain a similar idea, but in a more big picture, or not big picture, but in a larger scale that they can actually observe. So I'd say that we had a cheetah that runs at 50 miles per hour, 5 gazelle that run at 50 miles per hour as well, and 5 gazelle that run at 40 miles per hour. So the cheetah would get to the gazelle that run at 40 miles per hour first. And so those gazelle are gone. And so then we're left with 5 gazelle that run at 50 miles per hour, which is the same speed as the cheetah. But if they're already ahead of the cheetah, then the cheetah can't catch them because they're going at the same speed. And then I explained that after, oh, sorry, there was a squirrel outside my window. I would explain that after the initial gazelle that were slower are killed off, the only gazelle that are left to breed are the gazelle that run fast. So these gazelle breed within themselves, and there's a bunch of gazelle that can't be caught by the cheetah. So I would then explain that, say we have bacteria that are killed by penicillin, but say out of every 100 bacteria, 2 are for some reason resistant to penicillin. They can't be killed by it. So I would then explain that. So you take penicillin, all the bacteria that can be killed by penicillin are killed, but there are a few remaining bacteria that, due to genetic mutation or for some reason, are resistant to penicillin. These bacteria then multiply within themselves, and then they eventually become a large population of bacteria that are resistant to penicillin. So I just use that big observable explanation to explain something going on at a smaller scale. I think students learn best when they are given a problem and forced to think about it first before they are given an answer. I think that one of the most important things in any field, but especially the sciences, is the ability to problem solve, and developing that early on, but with correction, will allow for students to have less stress than just being forced to be completely on their own, but it will also be more productive than just receiving answers from a PowerPoint or something else without having to actually think about it. So I do already have an on-campus job. I work at the Paleontology Museum, but it's pretty relaxed. It's pretty relaxed work environment. So I only work. I have to work a minimum of 6 hours, but so yeah, anything below 14 hours, and say, like I said, if a student needs help outside of those 14 hours, I will still be happy to help them. Yeah, so I'll include anything else in the email in terms of preferences. But thanks again for your consideration and your quick response, and hope this uploads fast so I can send to you. Thanks.